Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. I'm Glenn Granddaddy G. Bruno, and this is episode number 34. Tonight, I'm going to take a break from reading my original poetry, and I'm going to read some award-winning poems by some award-winning poets, because tomorrow, April 1st, is the beginning of National Poetry Month. So we're going to have a lot of tribute to poetry and poets during the next 4 weeks. And tonight, March 31st, the last day of March, is the last day of Women's History Month. So the first couple I'm going to do are by women. This one is by a wonderful poet that I know named Suzanne Lummis. She is famous for Lummis Day, which is a festival in LA in Highland Park every year for art, poetry, music. She's the granddaughter of Charles Fletcher Lummis, the LA Times first publisher and editor, and a great writer and photographer. He also founded the Southwest Museum. So Suzanne is a wonderful teacher and poet and arts organizer here in Los Angeles. Her poem's called The Perfect Man. That's interesting, Suzanne. I wrote a poem called The Perfect Woman. I think it's episode 1 or 2 of Poems for Robin. You want to go back and check that one. The Perfect Man, a nursery story. For the men who've asked me, why isn't there a perfect man in any of your plays? He's lonely. There's only one of him. He's like the last of its kind, someone captured and shipped back to the zoo. Except he has never been captured, only by the mirror that captures his image, speaks the same reassurance. You are the fairest. He sighs and straightens his tie. It's terrible being a myth. Why can't he do goofy, ordinary things? Cruise down boulevards, be in a play. He moves through his rooms, which are clean as deep space and stuffed with pure light. Why can't he be bad? He fires a cigarette, lets it droop from his lips with a roguish nonchalance. No ash falls from its tip. No smoke rises. Suzanne Lummis. This is from Open 24 Hours, Lynx House Press, winner of the Blue Lynx Prize, 2014 by Suzanne Lummis. And I got this on a bookmark from poetryflash.org. I want to make sure I give everyone their credits so the YouTube police won't come after me. They've been doing that lately for copyright. This next one, also by a female poet, is called The Poet by Jane Hirshfield. She is working now in a room not unlike this one, the one where I write or you read. Her table is covered with paper. The light of the lamp would be tempered by a shade, where the bulb's single harshness might dissolve, but it is not. She has taken it off. Her poems, I will never know them, though they are the ones I most need. Even the alphabet she writes in, I cannot decipher. Her chair? Let us imagine whether it is leather or a canvas, vinyl or wicker. Let her have a chair, her shadeless lamp, the table. Let one or two she loves be in the next room. Let the door be closed, the sleeping ones healthy. Let her have time and silence, enough paper to make mistakes and go on. Jane Hirshfield, National California Book Award in Poetry, from The Lives of the Heart, 1997 by Jane Hirshfield, poetryflash.org. Good description of the life of a poet. Next one is called Poetry is a Kind of Money by K. Ryan. Poetry is a kind of money whose value depends upon reserves. It's not the paper it's written on or its self-announced denomination, but the bullion sweated from the earth and hidden, which preserves its worth. Nobody knows how this works, and how can it? Why does something stacked in some secret bank or cabinet, some miser's trove, far back, lambent, and gloated over by its golem, make us so solemnly convinced of the transaction when Mandelstam says love, even in translation? K. Ryan, Fred Cody Lifetime Achievement, Literature and Community, Northern California Book Awards. From Flamingo Watching, Copper Beech Press, 1994 by K. Ryan, poetryflash.org. Poetry is a kind of money. This next one is called The Problem of Describing Color. This is by Robert Haas, very well recognized poet of our century. The problem of describing color. If I said, remembering in summer, the cardinal's sudden smudge of red in the bare gray winter woods, if I said, red ribbon on the cocked straw hat, of the girl with pooched out lips dangling a wiry lapdog in the painting by Renoir, if I said fire, if I said blood welling from a cut, or flecks of poppy in the tar grass scented summer air, on a wind-struck hillside outside Fano, if I said her one red earring tugging at her silky lobe, if she tells fortune with a deck of fallen leaves until it comes out right, rouged nipple, mouth, how could you not love a woman who cheats at the tarot? Red, I said, sudden red. Robert Haas, from Fred Cody Lifetime Achievement, Literature and Community, Northern California Book Awards, from Time and Materials, Poems, 1997 to 2005, poetryflash.org. Next, Poet as Fisherman by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. Poet as Fisherman. As I grow older, I perceive life has its tail in its mouth. And other poets, other painters are no longer any kind of competition. It's the sky that's the challenge. The sky that still needs deciphering. Even as astronomers strain to hear it with their huge electric ears, the sky that whispers to us constantly the final secrets. If the universe, the sky that breathes in and out, as if it were inside of a mouth of the cosmos. The sky that is the land's edge also, and the sea's edge also. The sky with its many voices and no God. The sky that engulfs a sea of sound and echoes it back to us, as in a wave against a seawall. Whole poems, whole dictionaries, rolled up in a thunderclap, and every sunset has action, painting, and every cloud a book of shadows, through which wildly fly the vows of birds about to cry, and the sky is clear to the fisherman, even if overcast. He sees it for what it is, a mirror of the sea, about to fall on him, in his wood boat on the dark horizon. We have to think of him as the poet, forever face to face with old reality, where no birds fly before a storm, and he knows what's coming down before the dawn. and he's his own best lookout, listening for the sound of the universe and singing out his sighting of the land of the living. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, Fred Cody Lifetime Achievement, Literature and Community, Northern California Book Awards. From These Are My Rivers, New Selected Poems, 1955 to 1993. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, poetryflash.org. The last one, in honor of National Poetry Month and Women's History Month, is by a woman, Carol Lem. She's the author of 7 collections of poetry, most recently Shadow of the Plum, published in 2002 by Cedar Hill Publications. She teaches creative writing and literature at East Los Angeles College. And this is from the Japanese American National Museum concert called Sense of Sight. He breathes into his bamboo flute, while the photos and objects of internment breathe back. Silence enters the first note as he searches for the still point between the man, a pail of water in one hand, his daughter on the other, and the occasional tourist pausing at a display case. Where is Manzanar? He is playing to the distant cry of a deer, so solitary in his forest of sounds. He doesn't see the women in the front row whose father's flute rests on the table. The one thing he had left to teach others with in camp. 5 empty holes stare back. Thank you very much, everybody. One of the reasons I wanted to do this weekly series is to keep poetry alive in our society and in our culture. I think that arts, education is missing in our schools. So I hope that you like, share, and subscribe so I can continue bringing you poetry each week. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you next Sunday on Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G.